Welcome to Mystic Moons. Live readings and chit chat. I'm actually doing some research on holistic practices on water, to be specific. Anyway, yes, I'm here for chit chat. I'm actually doing readings on water. There was a conversation that I had a little while ago about the various debates of water and what types of water filter systems to use. Do you simply take water out of the tap? Do you treat it through some sort of water filter like Brita? That's another one that is also used together with, or just as popular as Brita. I think it could be Pro Pure. And with that water, the debate about water, do we take tap water and just simply filter it? Of course, there are filtering systems that you could have installed right under the sink before it even reaches your tap. Then again, there's a Brita type of water filters. There's a Pure. You could simply go and boil your water as well. I know in a couple places that I've had where they've had water concerns, they we recommend boiling it 3 times. And of course, the water wasn't distilled. It wasn't discolored at the times that I heard that. But I remember filtering it a couple times, boiling it, and then going through to filter it again. I got one of those big donut fryer type of pots, the really like large soup canister ones. And it took a while to heat up that water. It took a while to filter that water. But anyway, drinking water. When you think about the water that comes out of the tap, they say it's safe for human consumption, or for human consumption, safe for. But it does typically it's treated with fluoride. And while fluoride is lauded as a necessary chemical, and I say lauded because even look at like little kid programs in the elementary schools where they have them go and swish their mouth with oral care with fluoride in the in the toothpaste. But of course, fluoride is a controversial chemical, isn't it? If you go and dig a little bit into it, would you want to drink something purposely treated with fluoride, especially considering too that with tap water, drinking water, the threats of consumption are quite liberal. It's known that in drinking water, because of the sewage system and just the general runoff, there are contaminants in there. For instance, other pharmaceuticals that people take. Well, people are taking all these types of various pharmaceuticals or various types of needs, and then they go and excrete that through, hopefully the bathroom, like a standard bathroom that goes to the, not like excreting it somewhere outside of a bathroom, but typically they excrete it in a bathroom. And then even those runoffs, those pharmaceutical drugs are just broken down and taken through sewage water. And those drugs that people are ingesting from pharmaceuticals, amounts do make their way into our drinking water, especially our metropolitan sources of drinking water, or public drinking water. Even well water could be problematic depending upon where you're situated. But definitely pharmaceuticals that people take, people excrete, that has been found in the water. There's also distilled water. Well, it's interesting. There's a type of couple types of water filter, distilled water filters I was hearing about. There's one, I forgot the name of the brand. I'm going to have to go and dig it up again. But it makes a small amount. I think it makes about a gallon a day, and you need to go and run it through the system at least 8 hours before to get a gallon of water. It takes a while to go through. And with mineral water, or excuse me, distilled water, there is a controversy that essentially what you're drinking is dead water. And of course, who wants your water to be alive? I mean, we can ingest microorganisms, any sort of so-called minerals that we're getting from our water. It's going to be, well, it should be theoretically excreted through our system. It's not necessarily like we need those mineral deposits to stay within us, not through water. And some people would say because what the water you're drinking is so dead, it's best to drink it. It's best to use it for your appliances, like if you have an iron, a steam iron, you need to iron your clothes, you can go and use distilled water for that. If you are, if you have a house where the heating system is hot water, I forgot what they call it, hot water furnace or something. They call the heating by steam, I forgot what they call it. They say heat by gas, heat by electricity, heat by, well, wood stove, etc., etc. You can also go and heat by steam. Although that typically is powered by gas ultimately anyway, but that's another story. But anyway, distilled water is controversial because they say essentially you're drinking hot water. I mean, excuse me, not hot water, dead water. And spring water is also an interesting concept. A lot of spring water, what do I call them, sources? If you notice where they're owned by or who they're owned by, portion of it is owned by Nestle. And what is Nestle? Is Nestle Procter and Gamble or Kraft? I'm actually now curious who is the holding company of it. Is it Procter and Gamble? I have to go and look now. Who's the holding company behind Nestle? If you're like so out of advertising and conglomerates, how quickly all those holding companies fade away. But anyway, I think it's under definitely a larger umbrella. I do think it's under the same umbrella that also holds Kraft Foods. And the name of that holding company is really just escaping me. Is it General Mills? I think it's General Mills, right? That's the holding company? I'm pretty sure. If anybody knows, let me know. My internet is slow, so I can't really check that, but I do think General Mills is a holding company. Anyway, the point is, they are definitely one of the largest, well, bottlers or retailers of so-called spring water. I do know too that there are some significant. Hello. Do you have any preferences to what type of water you like to drink, or any thoughts on drinking water? Water from the tap, maybe water from the tap and boiled, water filtered, a home filter. Have you thought about distilled water, purified water, spring water, mineral water? Did you send a donation through? Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, or Venmo? Details are in the chat and also in the description. If you'd like a reading, I'd be more than happy to, but I ask for a donation. But going back to water, I do think Nesty has actually has rights to several drinking water sources in Pennsylvania. I do think that is something that, Shirley, you thought, what type of water do you like to drink? How do you prefer to drink it? Do you like your water in a glass jar? Do you like your water in a plastic bottle? I have a friend who, when she lived in New York City, she was so stubborn about how New York City had the best water in the world to drink, and she wasn't going to do anything to her water other than just drink it straight out of the tap. And I have never been that evangelical about anything coming from city resources, especially water. That was a subject that she get very, very passionate about, her drinking water from New York City. She's now in Portland. I haven't asked her what does she think about the Portland water, or if she goes and what does she do? Does she still drink water from the tap? Does she go and partake of boiled water, bottled water, water filtering? But yeah, she was determined not to get any water filters, not to do anything. And I see I have somebody just spamming away. I'm pretty sure, Manika, I say no spamming. There's no need to do that. But I guess it looks like another language anyway. Yeah, I speak primarily English as my first language. I can speak some Chinese, 可以说中国话. I can speak un poquito Espanol, but it's really, really muy mal, muy horrible. At this point, I butcher it more than I speak it. So I'm not going to call myself a Spanish speaker at this point in time. Maybe after 2 weeks of reviewing, then I'll say I am, because I have spent a lot of time studying it and I have actually spoken it, but not. Let's see, I probably haven't spoken Spanish for 2 years, at least. I mean, intentionally. Anyway, back to water. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share about the type of water they like to drink? Or how do you feel about... I'm trying to see, where is Nesty Under? It's on 20% by L'Oreal. Isn't L'Oreal also a Procter & Gamble brand? I guess I'll just put in General Mills. You know, you don't really know necessarily who's the holding company under all these umbrella brands until you actually go and look at their jobs. You look at any company, you go and look at which jobs are you interested in. And yes, Rishu, I would appreciate payment or a donation towards a personal reading. Otherwise, I invite you to check out the many collective readings that I do on a regular basis for free for everybody. As long as it benefits more than one person, I'll do a collective reading on it. But if you're asking me to do a reading that will only benefit one person, in this case you, I ask as a show of respect for my time and my energy, a payment. But nobody has any thoughts on water. Come on, we all drink water every day. 8 glasses of water is recommended. Anyway, back to spring water. So I do know that there are, for instance, where I am, several spring water sources. Some that are bottled domestically for distribution in the U.S. I know there's one in Pennsylvania. I think there's a couple in Pennsylvania, actually. Which is actually curious when you consider some of the environmental concerns that have been popping up around Pennsylvania, around where I am as well. Well, the Hudson River, that goes all the way through a good portion of New York and then feeds out through New York City to the Atlantic Ocean. Those are, well, it's an estuary when it gets down to the New York City area. But the Hudson River, that does feed several water deposits that are both prepared for the city, well, various cities, and also for reservoirs, as well as actual spring water locations. Like I think Binney Lakes is one. So nobody has any thoughts on water. Well, I'm preparing something on water. And of course, let's not forget too, when you're talking about water and how do you process it? Do you get it from the tap? Very few of us are actually going and pumping it out. Well, even through the well. Well water is an entirely different beast as well. But it's not something that's spoken about as much because that's something to do primarily with the homeowner or and then working your local, I forgot what they call it, but there's a department that you can go and call over and test your water quality and your soil to make sure that your burn pits and whatnot, like some people, when you're out in the country, they go in there, for instance, they could burn their garbage. And then when they burn that garbage, the ash that forms That ash could go and seep into the ground, get into your water if you have well water and contaminate it. Also, too, just runoff from your land can contaminate the well water. Well water is interesting. Some people try and say that well water isn't worth it because you are the one responsible for maintaining the drinkability of it. I have had a few places with well water. One place I had with well water, it was near a place where they were doing lateral fracking. There's two types of fracking when you're drilling for gas. There's the vertical drilling, which is supposed to be less damaging. And then the lateral or the horizontal fracking, in which is supposed to be pretty environmentally above ground devastating. But the really gross thing for me when I was there, I didn't know that they had fracking within a 25-mile radius, was there was sulfur. Somehow, I don't know, I forgot, and I didn't really call for me to review why that happened. But the fracking released sulfur in the water, and it pretty much was unusable. It was undrinkable. Some people say, oh, well, it's really nothing. It smelled like worse than raw boiled eggs. It smelled like eggs. It smelled rotten, horribly rotten. Every time you ran the tap or you flushed the toilet, anytime you did anything with water or around water, that smell of rotten eggs came through with a tap. It was disgusting. And then the water itself was cloudy. Even to wash the dishes in it felt gross. And to wash yourself, and there were filters, like a whole bunch of filters put on the tap, put on like underneath in the plumbing, put on the tap, and still that sulfur came through. There was really no way of treating that water. It was literally you could wash, but it felt dirty. You could wash your dishes. It was horrible. And that was that's actually all around a common thing with the lousy water, all around the Twin Tiers area between Pennsylvania and New York State, where those states meet. They have a huge water issue there. And sometimes the water literally is undrinkable. And it's all because of the fracking that's going on there, which they don't really talk about. During that time, everything I got was bottled water. Some water in glass, some water in plastic. The water with plastic I used just to wash my dishes. Because that water, even when you washed your hands, it stunk. But then you think about bottled water. So many of the water that's sold, it's sold in a plastic bottle. And of course, plastic leaches. Now, I mean, how long has plastic water been, or how long has water been bottled in plastic? Years, right? Decades. And even you think about how there have been water bottles that people used to even hang out or hand out as swag. You go to a company or you attend a school and they give you one of those water bottle things with a lid, only for a couple years later for them to say, oh, don't use that water because the plastic apparently is not safe for food safe items, right? The plastic will leach various chemicals. Sometimes it will even leach plastic itself. So then you talk about glass, right? Glass is the way to go. But of course, anything adds so much to the price tag. And it's always interesting to see which brands of liquid in general, drinking liquid, offers their products in glass as opposed to plastic. Go into a health food store or the so-called healthy food, organic food, whatever, section of the store, and all of those products, how many of them are offered in either, I forgot also what they call it, when they have that paper, that paper box with a foil type of packaging. There's a term for it. I think that term actually is regulations from European countries because plastic is so unsafe. They said for the things that we drink in Europe, there is some sort of regulatory federal guidance over there that they have to be in that paper, like almost juice box type of containers. Hello, everyone. So I offer personal paid readings. If you want to unsubscribe, that's fine. I do lots of readings for the collective, as long as it benefits more than one person. I'll do a collective reading, but if you're asking me to do a reading that will only benefit one person, I ask for a donation. Anyway, talking on about water. And the research that I'm doing on that. And here's my favorite part. You can save up to half on your bill. But if anyone has any thoughts to share about your drinking water, what kind of water do you like to drink? For a long time, I would drink as my treat. I would drink Pellegrino water and Perrier water. And then I stopped drinking Perrier water because there were some concerns and I went to Pellegrino. But then Pellegrino still has like little black things in the water. And I thought that was really disturbing. So I stopped drinking that. And plus it's expensive. But I am a fan of natural sparkling water. I do like that a lot. Not that I've had that in a while. And actually the water that I'm in, the tap water, I would say is pretty undrinkable as well because they treat it so heavily with chlorine. I can't even give my cats the water out of the tap, even filtered, because they will puke it up. If I give them the tap water, even if I filter it, a couple hours later, they will puke up all their food. And apparently some other people have kids here and their babies also can't digest food drinking the water here from tap. So little stomachs can't handle whatever they use to go and treat the drinking water here. And who knows how those pipes are that feeds up the water. Another type of water that I've been getting, well, not recently, but after I gave up on Pellegrino, I went with Topo Chico water, which is water from, I think, Central America. It could be Yeah, it's Mexican water, Mexican bottled water. That's also a pretty penny too. You buy a case of that, and that's $50. And if we're talking again about spring water and mineral water, well, mineral water supposedly has minerals because you're getting it, well, from, I almost want to say a crystal source. Well, a source that has crystalline properties, we could say. They're underground. They typically have salt, they have iron, they have magnesium. That also lends to the flavor, perhaps possible flavor that you could infer from the mineral water. I know some people say, for instance, they don't like seltzer or sparkling mineral water because it's too salty. I've been drinking it for so long. I don't really notice or am bothered by a so called saltiness. Purified water is another interesting concept and term. With purified water, that water can come from anywhere, but it's been treated. Anyway, I'm around. Let me know if anyone here would like a reading or if you'd like to go and talk about water. Sylvia, I asked for a donation if you'd like a personal reading. If you make a donation, let me know and I can take a look for you. I'm surprised no one has any thoughts on water, though. And we all drink it. I'm sure you've all must have had thoughts about it, either passing or deeper thoughts. I know some of those fancy coffee filters too. And same thing with water refill centers with distilled water. They usually have their spigots with a UV light. Also, have some restaurants and spas, resorts, they have their tap or public drinking areas that are treated with UV light going through the water. I think that's in some places or in some counties, or for some types of businesses, they have to have their water filtered through a UV light. I think it was Poland water with Nestea.
sounds like a derivation of ancient Egyptian.
We couldn't recognize it.
Oh, you didn't learn how to speak a lot of those. Where did this come from?
It's a deep space transmission overseas I got about 3 months ago.
So, why are you showing this to me now?
Because the transmission originated from the same quadrant of space as P3R233, where your mirror is. We went to 233 after we received the transmission that the civilization had been destroyed by the ghouls. We didn't find any mirror around. If you were the destroyers, some of the 233's agents must have sent out the warning before the civilization was destroyed by the ghouls. What's the rest?
Just as they come from them. The sentence isn't complete. There's just more silence, pulses, beats of some kind.
We've analyzed it. They're divided into parts: 3, 32, 16, 8, 10, and 12.
That's 600.
Yeah.
That's a Stargate address, just without the point of origin. Beware the destroyers. They come from 3, 32, 16, 8, 10, and 12.
The aliens who looked in 233 found out where the golden town originated. We'll find more.
Just a military base. They must have assigned a number to each symbol on the Stargate. It's a code. All we need to do is figure out what symbol the aliens used to represent number 1 and start counting from there.
Well, the only unique symbol they would have is the point of origin for 233. But that symbol may not even be on our Stargate.
Except I have the alien game on tape. saw the videotape. In my reality, Jack O'Neill convinced Teal to betray office to save our lives. Teal gave up everything with a slim chance that we could help free his people from slavery. Doesn't exactly look like we could help him do anything right now. Keep in mind, we just set a bomb off on this planet. There might not be anything left for him to save. Not in this universe. You expect me to explain all this to him? No, he's very smart. I bet he'll understand.
How do you know he's even remotely the same Jafar whenever you were in universe? Not everything's the same.
No, it's not, but it is close. Look, I know what I'm asking here. It's insane. Look, if you don't want to help me, I understand. Your lives. That's your fault. All I really have to do is buy a little time. A few minutes to get the kid over.
That videotape that Jafar and get it should catch his attention.
You're going to talk to this guy about alternate reality.
Do you really think he's right about this, Jafar?
He's right about myself. Thank you. I think this is where demolition is work.
Jack. We take a really gauge in your reality.
No.
If anyone has any questions or would like to share their thoughts on water, I could call this live a chit chat about water and drinking water and what your thoughts are on it. But I am going to do something on water, but a little bit more formal. This is just informal, chatting while I'm doing research. Not something I need to get out.
Thank you are General Jack O'Neill, commander of this base. Your kid, right? Our entry. You're wondering how I do it. I'm quite still in time.
Okay, I've got the documents and down on the 570. Now all we need is that world will destabilize.
We're going to need all the help we can get out there. We shall set the base on the short signals called 2 minutes past the estimated window bar and the coastal big story. If the ghouls want this place in one piece, I can't disappoint them.
My husband hadn't missed work in 15 years. His injury required months of rehabilitation, and unfortunately, the insurance company didn't see it that way. I was working 2 jobs, but it wasn't enough. One conversation with our rehab team changed everything. We sat down, told them our story, and they guided us through the whole workers' compensation legal process.
Only Hockey, tell us your story.
I have paid my taxes in 8 years. I was trying to take on the IRS by myself.
I owe the IRS $12,439.
Hey, we're gonna, take your house, put a lien in your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're gonna take your paycheck.
I was receiving telephone calls. I was receiving letters from the IRS. I was scared.
Optimal Tax can help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable and I trust them.
I picked up the phone, called Optimal Tax Relief. They guaranteed me that they were going to help me out the best that they can. And they did. I would refer Optimal Tax Relief to anyone.
You are the IRS. Don't want to know. You're about to tax law. They can help you.
For your free consultation, call 800-347-2440. That's 800-347-2440. Optimal Tax Relief.
I love my work caring for people. I often assist women who struggle with urinary incontinence, women who have fallen trying to reach the bathroom, or who have damaged skin from too much wetness. It can take a toll on them. At home, I worried for my mother. A lack of sleep due to bladder leakage affected her life. That's why I'm so glad the Purix system is available for home use. It's an innovative option for women who experience moderate to severe bladder leakage. This external system uses a soft, flexible wick placed outside the body to draw urine away from the body and into a collection canister. It's non-invasive and designed to keep the skin dry and stay in place. We trust it to help her throughout the night, so we're all better rested and can enjoy the things we love together.
Order yours online at purewickedhome.com or call 800-214-5036 today. New external catheters for women and men available for home use. Call 800-214-5036 today.
When surprise breakdowns happen, American Home Shield will be there to fix or replace parts of the systems and appliances you rely on every day. They help protect your time and money by connecting you with qualified pros and helping you pay for covered repairs or replacements. AHS has flexible and affordable plans for
That's
everyone.
not funny.
Sign up today and get 50% off. Visit AHS.com.
Some things
Plan AHS with this limited time offer.
are not funny, even if they're laughable.
What sort of deception is this? And also, I believe that you guys are convinced. You must know this alternate reality thing is possible, right? Right, right. Well, then, how did this Daniel guy know your name? He says the guy in this video. You, I guess, in his world, hates being a slave to the rules. Lies. I know this sounds insane, but you have a chance to change things in his world. We just need a little time, that's all. This guy Daniel says that Teal'c in his world is a good man. That he betrayed the goal for a chance to free his people, to free his family. Your wife, your son, Ryan. We received word from my home world. You sent a weapon of destruction there through your Stargate. My people, my family are dead.
Guess the grand scheme of things were even.
I surrender. I have the information that can help Apophis. There's technology he will want to know about. This is a remote control to an interdimensional portal. I can tell Apophis how to find it. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I also wish to blow us all to hell. Time's up!
It appears to have been caused by staff.
This looks like a Stargazer.
Alright, let's get back to Earth. We're all pretty mutual.
Anyway,
That's what the message said.
Well, hello.
These are the coordinates of the
Busy working and busy talking to myself at the same time. Have you ever done that? Working and talking. Well, you have to be by yourself to be talking to yourself. Usually, right? Usually. Well, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? Everything's pretty nutsoid. Pretty nuts. I mean, I honestly wonder that people just waking up. I mean, you're waking up, I'm waking up. And it just seems every time you wake up, it's like, this is just nuts. I mean, water quality, air, the news is like freaky stupid, right? Freaky stupid. And telling you things, but not telling you things. In the United States, it's pretty creepy right now. It's pretty freaky. So many things. They contradict what you think it should be and the way that it is. I mean, you hear about Diddy possibly getting a pardon from Trump, which like the group stays with the group. If you're in the in crowd, you're in the in crowd. If you're in the out crowd, you're in the out crowd. So it's like that. And apparently Diddy, of course, is in the in crowd. And then Ghislaine Maxwell getting transferred to a cushy prison. And for all her decades and decades of stuff, nasty stuff. Yes, it sounds like corruption is king here. Corruption is king. And then we hear about all these little wars trying to become a big war. I mean, what's the purpose of it? It's not going to enrich my life. Is it going to enrich your life? Nah, I don't think so. And at the same time, we're supposed to be loving each other, making homes, building our warmth, sharing experiences. But all the time, we're just not doing that. It's almost as though we're in Project Zero. Net zero. Just zero contact. Zero is the new number. Zero is the new state. It's pretty weird. What do you think? Don't you think these things are weird right now? Very, very strange. I mean, we're always transforming. We're always in some direction. But then again, they try to, the governments of the world, they try to steer it in a certain direction. Trying to take an ocean of thoughts, like we're an ocean and a galaxy of thoughts, and only having one way to go. Like there's only one port, this port, what is sanctioned port, not the way that you feel your brain and your ether and your aura tell you. The universe tells you which port we're in, but it's the way that they tell you to think, and that's where the disconnect comes in. And anytime anyone on the face of the earth says anything different from what is this port of knowledge, this port of control, this script that we're supposed to all repeat like little toy dolls or robots or something. I mean, like even saying that the world of robots and machines is going to be really groovy and really, just the cat's meow. And we all know that that's kind of like, huh? What are you saying to me? Bullshit. I'm going to listen to my toaster. I'm going to listen to my refrigerator, and they're going to know what I should eat and how I should eat it. Technocratic paradise. That's what they're offering us. A technocratic paradisia. Sounds more like Dante's Hell, Inferno, right? Doesn't it sound pretty creepy? And yet nobody's telling you how creepy it all is. It's creepy. It's creepy. And you hear that, the overused word experts. If I hear experts, sounds like a bowel movement to me. A bowel movement, experts. Just because you read. You read. And we all like to read. Man, not all of us like to read, but it's good to read. I'm not going to say the word trust me because I don't trust anybody. But use your own innate sense. It's good to read all types of information. And of course, when something is like off the wall, you got to stop. But it's the fact of they're telling you that The world of machines is going to save us from ourselves. Oh, that's such a crock. It's going to just put hands in the power in the hands of a couple guys, a couple of technocrats. It's going to make you stupider and stupider and stupider and stupider. And that's not where a civilization or a race of creatures advance themselves, by getting dumber and dumber and dumber. You know that. Of course you know that. We all know that. So that's the agitation that we feel, because we know instinctively through ourselves and through the universe that we're meant for so much more. So much more. And we haven't even, every time humans are beginning to start becoming awakening, then they clamp down, or the propaganda says, no, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. So that's kind of like when you write about things, you want to awaken a germ of interest, a gram of interest, right? Interest. Interest leads to discovery. And of course, what society today wants? Awakened people, smart, awakened people. And if we just quiet ourselves, our inner energies, and we get on the river of connection, that's what they see. That's what language, that's what faith and religions, that's what location, geography, all try to accept this river of human knowledge and connection. And you're not going to get it through your like electronic devices, because that's just like party taking control of your river of life, the essence of your greatness. That's where the mystery of life is. That you do not eat snacks of other tidbits, fast foods for the brain, fast foods for the heart, fast foods for the ether. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you have to keep in mind you're born with everything you need. And then society, through its educational systems, etc., they break it down to having uniformity, because that, when something is predictable, meaning you can go to slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, then they don't have to exert much energy, and then they can have you just where they want you, in their hook hook hook. So they say, and then the one thing in the United States anyway, they always try, I guess Europe too, is trying to put this the freak out. I mean, Diddy had it right when he called his parties a freak out. They try to put the, the genitals as like, ooh, the paradisia, the energy centers, the everything. And then when they can't get the genitals, below your belt, your crotch area stimulated, then they go for your stomach, pizza, ice cream, and things like that. And they always like, eat this slop because it'll make you feel hot and fun. So when they're so busy with the crotch and the stomach, then they try to at the same time, grasp your mind in a state of like, ooh, be afraid, be afraid. Only us, the few us, 1, 2, 3, 4, half a dozen trillionaires plus can lead us to what? Collectivization, to connection with the universe, connection to the universe, because we all know that they've been keeping, for years, decades, millenniums, they've been keeping this secret of just how many galaxies exist in the universe. They've known a long time. It's been known hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. That's what war is all really about. Besides human depopulation, it's getting those artifacts, getting that information, and keeping that information before it's disseminated to the farmers out in the hills of Serbia or wherever the hell they're thinking about. They want to keep the information locked, sealed, and buried, and then keeping the same old dryer hee-haw details of something, of nothingness, to try to keep it important to you. When you want to know just your connection to the universe, you want to unlock your humanity. You're not little naked, freaky little things, frightened little creatures. No, we're not little naked things. We're a lot more. We may not have dinosaur strength physically, but we have a lot mentally and psychically. And that's what civilizations don't want us, especially Americans. And I guess Europeans are stuck in the same, tired, has been handkerchief of blowhard. That's an interesting phrase, isn't it? Mucus. They want to keep us saturated with nothingness, so we cannot stimulate ourselves. And I don't mean sexually stimulating ourselves, or no, or not even intellectually stimulating ourselves. I'm saying we should frequency stimulate. We should open up because frequency is everything. You cannot be being programmed in a society's intellectual diatribes is not frequency. It's just information, which may or may not be useful to you. More than half the things you learned in college are useless on a day-by-day basis because most people don't. I mean, who are you going to relate to your textbook, which is good. I mean, I like myself in terms of certain things I've read, philosophers and stuff. And even if it's pro or con, it still is important to know. I mean, knowledge is important. Every single thing, watching bugs, watching gophers, watching the birds. There's many, many languages going on. And even though they say they have a dividing line with humans on the top, it's not so. Do you know that the blue whales have gone silent? Silent recently. They're not singing. The blue whales, those huge, huge, beautiful, majestic creatures, have gone silent. Why? Why have they gone silent? What if the birds go silent? They said, we've been screaming at you for ages and you're not listening. Well, begone, humans, if you wish not to listen to what we say, what we hear, what we see. We're all connected. We're all connected. We're all connected. And when we feel disconnected, we want to harm other countries, we want to bully other countries, other people, then that's when we lose our harmony, our universal harmony, and we become disconnected to the source of our energy, our power, because then we get filled with fractured vibrations. Fractured. We can't grow with pieces and crumbs. We need a whole, an entirety to see where we should direct ourselves. There are many probes from many different worlds looking at us. Many different outer worlds, seeing, are we worthy? Do you realize that of course we have portals, we have stargates. Remember, each country has their space force, and it's more than going around like cute little uniforms and saying, oh, there's the moon. No, it's more than that. Grow, because they're just so afraid of losing their power structures. Power. How much power do you think your governments can have when outer worldly visitor becomes prominent? Prominent. I don't think the outer worldly visitor would necessarily go to your country's leadership. Why? When they already have the mechanism to hinder, to confiscate, to hide. And of course, there are also working outer worldly aliens in many, many countries. They're already in cooperation. There's so many different types of things going on. And yet we're like,
given a 3 ABC vocabulary. It's rather humorous, isn't it? We're like mice in a maze, and there's a carrot or a piece of cheese at one end of the maze. And that's how we spend our life. And that's the way they say you should spend your life. Like that. Like running around, scurrying like little 4 legged stinky creatures. Because we don't deserve. They say you don't deserve to know. But we're born with that knowledge and we allow. And just because your parents say, oh no, you will have a hard time if you must do this, or you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, garbage man, what the hell are you going to do with your life? If you say, I just want to explore what I should do. You see, everything is so tangible and intangible at the same time. Stand on your 2 feet on this earth while you're here in this form and realize your destiny. If you feel that you have the strength to change your frequency, be, to be, sometimes not very few people are willing to you know, get out of their circle of comfort or their bubble of insulation where everybody is predictable, everything is predictable, and then they're scared to face adventure and joining with the human race. Because if you join with somebody, they don't have to look like you, they don't have to dress like you, but instinctively, you know that you are the same. You know you want to have the same desires. Like we all eat, we all defecate, we all dress, and some of us wash occasionally. All humor aside, we're all the same. 4 chambered hearts. We walk on 2 feet. We have 2 arms. Initially, most of us are always differences of those, chemicals and stuff. But the vast majority of us have 4 chambered hearts. And do you think an alien outer worldly race would look at you and think, oh, this person speaks different, oh, this human speaks different, this human dresses different? They don't care. They're just hearing that frequency of your 4 chambered heart. They're looking at your your 2 feet and your 2 arms on your head, and maybe they like certain parts. There are outer worldlies that look at us like livestock. They like to eat us. They like certain body parts. Why not? We eat pigs. Pigs are intelligent. We call them a pork. But there are cute little pigs. We eat cows. And of course, cows have families. They have units. They don't like being killed. But we can kill them. And don't you think that outer world, the aliens, have the same idea about us? Us. It's funny that many, for a decade or so, body positive, meaning eat as much as you want. You didn't have to be slim. And now all of a sudden they want you to be thin. Thin. Don't you think there could be some kind of appetite on some creatures, some beings' palate that likes plenty of human in one human? If the biggest part of you is your backside, sometimes it's your stomach. Did you ever see? I have personally seen. Well, I spent a year in anatomy, gross anatomy. It's called in med school. All right, I have personally seen this. Now, the buttocks, the behind, the ass, is the biggest thing on a human. And if you notice, that has been many, especially during the Biden years, it was very look at this big backside. Now, alien, what is it going to eat? What do you eat on a cow? What do you eat on a pig? You eat the backside. Do you eat the feet? Well, some people eat the feet, pig's feet, or cow feet. I don't know about that. But what's the biggest thing? The biggest part of your body. Some alien was into eating you, human. It would eat the backside. The backside. What do they want with a scrum? If you look at a chicken, I don't know. I'm a vegan. But if you look at something's biggest part of something, I mean, there's the breast meat, but there's also the backside. And the humans, even the way they're dancing, they're twerking, sticking that behind up in the air like that and twitching it around. Is that for my or your benefit? I mean, I don't think so. I think that if something was like, remember, a couple decades ago, they used to report. Now they don't do it anymore. But they used to put like these cow mutilations and things like that, dissections of farm animals, and it was to get like certain glands out. I mean, they were drained of blood, things like that. But I mean, now think of it. Now they can't now these alien races that exist on the earth, and of course in the different worlds. They have, I'm saying they're all not like groovy and like, hi. No, a lot of them, they need the nutrition. They're hungry. They're hungry. So getting back to like aliens eating humans. Now, this is all the things that we should be worried about and being adept to protecting ourselves, not against, oh, this technology and these Russians and these Chinese and these Americans, these Indians. I mean, that is a crock of baloney. That is baloney because we are all one. One. One, 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 one. One. And that's something that they don't want. I mean, competition among countries, what does that do? What does that really, really do? And this whole cataloging and digitizing and controlling every aspect from when you wake up to how much you poop, to how much you drive, to how much you move, your exercise. I mean, what is the point of this control? Why do we fooling around with the wrong issues? You know, when we get attacked by another, you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen at some point or another. And they can be saying, oh, it's going to be a faux attack at the USS Liberty in the Vietnam War, something like that. You know, our own people attack. Well, go look it up, the USS Liberty. And the 19, I don't know, 60 something. 60, it's history, it's history. But it started the United States to go into the Vietnam War, which was erroneously blamed on the Chinese or somebody. Go look it up. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be a faux, a fake attack. It's the real thing because we are living in an age of greed. Greed and stupid. Greed makes people stupid. It really does. A generous society, a society that values its people, that's what democracy or a republic is supposed to be. But we're very far from a democracy and republic. We're now into dictatorships. We're into like little controlling panopticons of I see you all the time. I got your voice down. I got your digital ID. I got your habits, your spending habits. And you can and cannot do. If I say jump, you say how high. And until that day comes when you say, how high? How high? Slaves. I will make slaves out of everyone and everything. Slaves. Oh, somehow I've gotten very far from my composition I'm writing. My essay on water. I should get back to it. Well, if anyone would like a reading, just let me know. So I'm going to do something else. Okay, so I'll be back later. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.